So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Hey, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot. Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, sunshine. How are you?
Hi there.
Listen, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know that you have been busy. We are on patrol live, and I have questions that need answers.
All right. Well, then shoot.
So I know that, well, I don't know. We want to be cautious when we say that because while these patrol
true.
cameras are on, I mean, hey, lights, camera, too
True.
much action.
True. It's
But
true.
nearly-
Probably not the best use of words. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're almost at 100 episodes. How did you know you wanted to get these 50 plus cameras to take us in the line, if you will, of danger? Because for every officer that decides to get up and protect and serve, they never know what's on the other side of their call. So
That's exactly right. And I think that's what this show depicts, right? That's what makes this show different. Is it shares that uncertainty with the officers about what's coming next. They don't know what's going to be happening when they arrive at a call, when they've got some information, domestic incident. They don't know when they get there who's who. Same thing on a traffic stop, right? They don't know who the driver is very often. So I think that uncertainty is something that the audience shares with the police officers. That's part of what makes the show different.
absolutely. And you never understand, the level of anxiety that could cause because it's not like these officers have an on switch and off switch. So it's really hard to detach with that. But when you pull up to these scenes and you're bringing this to us, we can also look at it as a force of edutainment, if you will. We're being entertained by it, but we're also being educated on what this officer is going through day to day, case by case.
Absolutely. And I think it is a combination, right? I mean, look, it is interesting to watch police officers in action. I enjoy going to work. Why? Because I think it's interesting to watch policing. But it is also something where I've walked away now understanding, now in our fourth season, understanding policing, better than I did before I started hosting the show. I
Right.
have a better sense of what it's like to be a police officer, of the things that they encounter, of how they go about going to a scene, of what the proper protocols are, etc.
Do you think that this show also brings a level of transparency on the accountability factor for what the public may not know and how it goes case by case?
Look, yeah, I mean, look, the public gets to decide for themselves whether they think the police officers are doing a good or bad job. And most of the police officers are really good. But I can tell
Yeah.
you that there have definitely been instances where people are watching things on the show and the audience will be like, what's wrong with that officer? That officer shouldn't have done that, etc. That's part of it, that's part of it. And that does and can lead for certain to accountability.
Yeah, and I see that you're in Las Vegas, South Carolina, you're in Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Monroe, Louisiana. And while you're out here casting for the next episodes and next seasons, I would love to put Baton Rouge and New Orleans somewhere on your radar. Pull up on
Well,
us.
talk to the police chiefs and talk to the city council. It's interesting that we're in a lot of sheriff's departments, and the reason is because the sheriff makes the call, right? When people say there's a new sheriff in town, it means that the sheriff has the power to make the decisions. Unfortunately, in a lot of big cities, there's a lot of red tape that you have to go through. It's not just the police chief, it's not just the police department. Sometimes it's the mayor, sometimes it's also the city council. And I think that people don't realize how valuable it can be to show the community and the country how police officers do what they do. I know the police departments generally get it, but very often the politicians don't. And that can be frustrating. But look, we're in a lot of great departments. We got a great waiting list of other departments who want to join us. And so the addition of Las Vegas, which is one of the biggest departments in the country, was obviously a big deal for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, while you're hosting these shows, do you ever come across any incidents that's just like, wow, I didn't see that coming, or this is the one that stood out to you the most?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, when people say to me about the show, they'll be like, all right, so what are you expecting coming up this weekend, right? My answer is, I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. I don't know what kind of calls they're going to get. I don't know if there's going to be an intense pursuit. I don't know if there's going to be a life-threatening situation. I don't know. And so there's always surprises for me every weekend in terms of what's happening. And I think that's part of what makes the show great.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's enough crime to say that the seasons will never run out.
Well,
Friday
yeah,
and Saturdays on Reels, it gets real.
yeah. It's why we need police officers, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you can talk about improving policing, and I think that's an important conversation always. I think police departments want to continue to have those
Yeah.
conversations. But when it comes to needing our police, unfortunately, throughout the country, it's an important part of keeping our communities safe.
And when you're just hosting these and doing these interviews and maybe even getting one-on-one with the officers, what's their take on it? Just by being an officer or now having their work on display, what is that?
I think that they appreciate people understanding what they go through, right? And what I mean by that is, in part, it's the uncertainty, right? In part, it's
Mhm.
the we don't know what's going to happen next. But in part, it's also the way a lot of people kind of treat the officers like crap. I mean, look, on the one hand, I'm very critical of those people. On the other hand, no one wants to get pulled over. I don't like getting pulled over when I get pulled. So it's not a good day, right?
Right.
Typically, when you get pulled over. Now, the flip side is that a lot of the people who are calling the officers, the reporting parties who are asking for help, are incredibly appreciative of the officers who are there. And so I think that when you talk to the officers who are on the show, they will say that people recognizing what they do is valuable to them, and
Right.
they think to the police.
Do you ever highlight some of the community policing efforts? Because, usually whenever we come up with the cops, just as you said, chances are we're already on the wrong side or on the I need help side. There's never a happy moment to where you just see a cop and be like, oh yeah, that's my guy. Oh, that's, thank you so much. It's just, oh, here we go. That's just
Well,
the instant basing. Oh, here we
no,
go.
no, there is some happy moment. Look, there are times when we see officers driving around when they'll see someone who needs something, right?
Yeah.
Or someone, like there's a kid there, and they'll go and give them something, or And look, and I think that departments try to do that, right, to
Yeah.
improve community relationships, because it's about trust, right? Policing is about
Absolutely.
trust. And it's about being able to trust that the police departments are looking out for the best interest of the community. And I've seen a lot of departments go out of their way to do that. They host events where they raise money, or they bring people on ride-alongs. Yeah, I've seen various departments that we follow do auctions to do a
Yeah.
ride-along with the department, and then they donate the money to really important causes. So, look, the cops being viewed as the good guys is really important. It's not always easy, but
Yeah.
it's really important. And so I think that you do see an effort on the part of a lot of the departments.
And I definitely appreciate you for bringing all of this to light. And not just for bringing it to light for an episode, but nearly 100 in. And I encourage you to keep up the great work and telling these stories on both sides. Oh, every Friday, every Saturday on Reels, it gets real with On Patrol Live. Dan, think of this as an extension of your office. So whenever you have anything going on, tell them I need to jump in the hot seat and or the tan line, and you can consider it done.
All right. I love to hear it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll be back.
Anytime, anytime. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah.